Hello and welcome back to It's About Time, where I am creating an exhaustive timeline of my favorite show, Lost. I have seen Lost many times, and I thought it would be really fun to put it into chronological order. I also reserve the right to talk about any season of Lost throughout this chronology, and so this will be riddled with spoilers. So be prepared for that. There will be spoilers. So if you have not seen Lost, this may not be the show for you, but it is for those of us who are big fans of Lost and have seen it many times over and over again. So let's get into the episode for today, which is All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues. Season 1, episode 11. And we know this is a Jack backstory episode. So let's get right into it.
Has anyone seen Ethan?
Yeah, he went to get some wood. Took off on the path to the beach. Is he okay? What happened?
Where's Charlie?
What?
Where's Charlie?
He went after Claire. Tracks are still fresh.
This doesn't make any sense. How could one man drag off two people, one of them pregnant?
You're asking the wrong question, not how. Why?
All right, artery sealed, close her up.
He's dead.
Charged?
Charged.
Clear. Charged?
We're charged.
Clear. Come on. Come on back now, come on. Come on now. Come on back.
Call it, Jack. It's over. Call it.
You call it.
Hey, Locke. Hey, look, a lot of us don't just want to sit here waiting for news.
Thanks, but we're set. Anyone else just gonna slow us down?
Okay. Maybe I'll just put together another part.
Good idea. We're going north. I suggest you go south.
Never thought I'd see the day, Jack. You barge into my OR, you work on my patient.
You didn't have to do this procedure.
I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, of course you don't.
Rescue me.
She told me that your hands were shaking.
My hands were
You
not...
cut her hepatic artery.
She was in a car crash, Jack. Her insides were a mess.
You made a
They
mistake.
called me.
I don't care whether or not they called you. You made a mistake.
Are you lecturing
But Jack
me?
is a spinal surgeon and he's a cardiac surgeon, Christian. So why wouldn't they just call another cardiac surgeon?
How many drinks did you have at lunch, Dad?
Well,
Getting sick of being treated like a second-class citizen around here because Mount Baldy can bag a boar.
He knows a lot more than how to catch a boar. Mr. Locke's a warrior. He can hunt, he can track stuff, and he's the only one who brought knives. So if it were me, I'd listen to him.
but it's not you, is it,
Well,
Walt?
I don't want you to. You understand?
He is the parent.
You stay with Hurley.
Back home, I'm known as something of a warrior myself.
They found one of Charlie's bandages.
What is it?
Look familiar?
It's Charlie's.
What do you think it just came off?
Nope, he's
No.
leaving you breadcrumbs.
He's leaving us a trail. They went this way.
I'm not so sure. There's another trail here.
Got two trails. Let's split up. I'll take that one.
No, we should stay together, Jack.
Why? We've got two trails and apparently two trackers.
Thanks for coming in, Jack. Have a seat.
Mm-mm. And he continues to stand.
Rushed into surgery with massive internal bleeding. You joined me, and in spite of our most heroic efforts, the patient succumbed to her injuries.
Looks like you fixed everything but the patient.
Mm.
You have no business being in OR.
You really think I would have walked in there if I couldn't handle it?
You've done it before.
That's right, I have, because I am perfectly capable of making
How
those
can you
decisions.
say that after what happened
The
yesterday?
problem is not...
You were impaired.
I'm not the only one on the hook for this. You called me off. You were the surgeon of record when she died.
Bro. Don't try it.
Accident. They'll strip me of my license.
You need to be stripped of your license.
Yes. They will.
I've had to sacrifice certain aspects of my relationship with you.
Boy, that
So that
Christian shepherd
hundreds
can
of
act.
thousands of patients
He's
will
good.
live because of your extraordinary skills.
But he's manipulating Jack. And Jack signs it. Always go with your first mind, Jack.
Playing? I took 17th in a tournament once.
17 is not very good.
No, 17th is very good.
Come on, double sixes, double sixes.
Well, now we need the flashback of Hurley in the backgammon tournament.
Oh, you got it. Kidding.
I'm lucky.
No one is that lucky.
My dad said I was the luckiest person he ever knew.
Really?
Not Michael, Brian, my other dad. Yeah. Yes! Yes! Come on,
Both
one more game,
Hurley
one
and
more.
Walt have daddy issues.
I got a meeting.
A meeting?
Yeah, a meeting.
You owe me $20,000!
You'll get it.
Or did you?
If you do not stop following me, I will kill one of them.
Ooh,
Do you
Ethan.
understand?
I'll crush his ribs.
That's her husband.
Wow.
He's threatening to sue.
And he should. But the legal team from the... And he says, see, this is how my dad manipulates people with this shoulder touch. The legal team from the hospital should be standing there with him as he's talking to the husband.
Of course, every effort was made to resuscitate her, but the severity of her injuries, the amount of internal bleeding, made that impossible. Now, in my professional opinion, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all I have, by the time I was called in, the damage was irreversible.
You were aware of the patient's pregnancy when you went into the procedure.
Absolutely. The patient's husband had informed the attending in the ER. It was, however, extremely early in the pregnancy, so our primary focus had to be on the mother.
I need to revise my statement. I didn't come into the OR until well into the procedure.
Jack.
I was warned by one of the nurses that my father was operating. It was clear that my father was not only incapacitated, but that he had also severed the patient's hepatic artery, which in my professional opinion caused the crisis which led to her death.
And I'm understanding timeline-wise that hearing happened sometime before Christian went to Australia. Oh God, they find Charlie hanging. Whew. We know Charlie lives, but this is such a tense scene.
Come on. Come on.
It's mirroring the first scene in the operating room.
on, Charlie. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Woo, and break his ribs in the process. When he's beating on his chest, I'm like, oh God.
Jack! Come on!
Stop!
Come on! Come on!
Woo! I believe that part of what brought Charlie back was the island.
They aren't back yet. I'm sure they just made camp for the night. If there's anyone on this island that your brother's safe with, it's Locke.
Nope.
Are we lost? No, Boone, we're not lost. Sorry, it's just I don't see how you can still be following this trail. Boone, you need this more than I do.
Ooh, and that's when they find the hatch.
What is that? Steel. That's what we're gonna find out.
So that is the episode, and it's one of those episodes that I find to be a little bit slow. I think some of the scenes are a little long for me, but again, we find out a lot of information, and we get a good flashback, even though even in the flashback I think some of the scenes were kind of long, but we did find the hatch, and we know that season 2 is all about the hatch. So this is a great setup mid-season or so that we get introduced to it. So let's get into it and let's start solving this timeline. I think this one might be fairly simple to put together. So we know we were on day 15 when Charlie and Claire encountered Ethan at the end of the last episode, and he captured them, right? And you know, Hurley comes running back also on this day and says, you know, Ethan's not on the manifest and nobody can find Charlie or Claire. So everyone rushes out to try to find them. So Jack, Locke, Kate, and Boone search for Claire and Charlie. In addition to that, you know, Michael and others start their own search party. Ethan attacks Jack and tells him not to follow him. Jack and Claire find Charlie hanging, and Jack revives him. Ooh, so it's a terrible ordeal, but he revives him. And then John and Boone find the hatch door. All right, so we had already established that on September 17th, Jack's mom had guilted him into going to Australia. Jack's father had already been there, I think, 2 or 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's correct. So I'm going to say that I'm going to put a marker here, even though it wasn't in this episode, just to help us with this timeline, that on September the 15th, 2004, Jack's father leaves for Australia. And we know he leaves for Australia with Anna Lucia, right? And we'll correct that when we get to that episode with the flashback with Ana Lucia and him. If we feel like it's a few more days than that, we'll correct that at that point. So what I'm going to say is that at the beginning of September is when all of this transpired. So I'm just going to put a timestamp in here that let's say September 1st, 2004. Jack takes over a surgery that his father flubbed. And then let's say on September the 2nd, Jack's father manipulates him into signing the documents. That absolve him of any wrongdoing. And then I'm going to say that Jack sees Christian manipulating the husband of the woman that died. Also, I put those on the same day, and then I'm going to give it maybe a day or so. I'm going to say on September 5th, 2004. I'm taking a little liberty here. A hearing is held to question Christian Shepherd. Christian lies. Jack does not back him up when he hears the woman was pregnant. And here's the thing that I'll let them take creative license with, but I would think that even when he rushed into the surgery, even the nurses that were there and any of the other surgery personnel would have said that she's pregnant, and it would have been in her chart. But it was somehow a surprise to Jack. So that's really interesting. But we'll let them have that. And Jack really had it wasn't just in that moment when he heard that. He was going to make the decision that he was going to make when he first went to his father's office. But then he allowed his father to manipulate him, and he went ahead and signed. And but then when he saw that that's his father's tactic, he moved on to going back on especially after he heard the patient was pregnant. And then he made his decision to say, oh no. So I'm going to put that at the beginning of the month, and I feel good about that. If we need to change it, let's talk about it and let's change it together. In the meantime, let's talk about this episode. Anything that you think I might have wrong or anything that we need to work out together, let's talk about it down below. I would love the discussion, and I would love, to truly flesh this entire timeline out. Thank you again for watching It's About Time. You can watch all of the episodes on It's About Time as we put together this timeline. Also, you can watch me on Patreon, patreon.com/itsabouttime, where I'm about 2 to 3 episodes ahead. So I look forward to seeing you there as well. Also on Patreon, you can download a full version of the timeline. Every week I update it, and it's the full version from the beginning all the way to where we are now. So thank you once again for watching